Righty. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Mini Paint and Chill, where I mini paint and you chill. To some wonderful beats provided by an Epidemic Sound at a cost. We're back at it today again. I've got a lot of projects I need to get done. My wife is out of town, so I have a lot of time to paint. So I thought I'd share some of it with you. Before I get started, though, a few quick things to get out of the way. One, if you aren't already following the channel, please do. If you're watching this on YouTube, hi YouTube. If you wouldn't mind subscribing on YouTube, it's completely free. Speaking of subscriptions, if you have the financial ability to, I would love it if you subscribe to my channel. Or if you would like to more directly financially aid me, you can do so by purchasing something off my website, wheelersminis.com. Other ways you can help me that are completely free is you can follow me on my socials at Wheelers Minis on pretty much everything. I have deleted a lot of social media off my phone, so I'm not on it as much. But if you need to check out to see the latest things to keep up with, that is where to do so. So yeah, we're going to be doing kind of the same thing I did last week. Around this time, we're just going to be working on this guy still because he is very quickly creeping into my home game. So I just want to make sure I have all the models that I need to get done. And so we're going to work on that today. There's a big one that I have to do that I'll probably do when I get back from my trip this weekend. I'm going to Las Vegas to Verko's Vault to take a class with Jim Rice, which I'm very excited about. First class I've ever taken for miniature painting. I'm really excited about it. So without further ado, we can just go ahead and jump into it. I wanted to start with this part of him today. I had this fun idea that originally I was going to do this like this fur as like a fur tone, but I think it might actually do better to be like mossy. I think it would look cool as moss, and I can do it like the Spanish moss I grew up with. And have it more of like a gray green, but I want to start it with a green undertone. So we're going to go Emerald Forest, fresh palette. You can't see very well because I've zoomed in so that you can see the model more. We're going to start with Emerald Forest. Per usual, I'm always starting on this side. And we're going to do it similar to the way that we did the moss on the other one. Again, I think, though, as I get higher up in tone, I'm going to go more towards gray-green to get kind of like a Spanish moss-looking color. Get some paint on our brush. Thin it out first. Beautiful. I'm just going to get this. Actually, I might be a little too wet. Which is okay. But yeah, I just had the idea that instead of going for this, because I'm going for him to be kind of like a plant creature, instead of going for fur, I kind of want to go for moss. And I think moss will look good. It'll tie in with the other models very well. A lot of today is going to be browns and greens. It seems to be the trend for June so far. As well as stags, because of Sliz and her companion Gerald. Which if you didn't see, I posted the pics up on Instagram. If you wouldn't mind going to check those out and give those a like, I'd really appreciate it. I had a lot of fun painting them, and I worked a lot with light for the first time. On a model like that, and dramatic lighting specifically. Obviously, I work with lighting every time I paint. That is what I'm trying to do, is mimic light as much as possible. Get this nice and greened up. dry. And then we're just going to start working on the tones, sorry, the wood. So I want it to be kind of like that wood, so I think what I'm going to do is, for that, I added some green in later, but I want it to be a little bit more dark brown, like rotting wood. So we're going to go with the mahogany, but I think what I'm going to do is make a mix and add the gray-green in there. And like increase that number. So at first we're probably going to do like a decent amount of the mahogany mixed with a little bit of the gray-green. Maybe a 50-50 mix. Probably just a little bit more mahogany than the gray-green. We're just going to start to put this on here. I'm not too worried about brushing too much on right now, because this is kind of our mid-tone. I'll start worrying about the specifics of smaller details when we get to that highlight part, but right now I want to do my best to keep some of the crevices just a little bit darker, but still make sure that this has a good presence on the model. I'm really excited about this piece, and I kind of want it to look really nice, but if you constantly are waiting till you have the time or the ability to paint something, you will never paint. So, paint to the best of your ability where you're at, and you'll find that you'll learn things and do better at it. I want this to kind of be, this is the form that he takes the most, so it's his true form. Oh, I turn on the humidifier too, so I actually have some humidity coming in here. I just want to make sure that, there is still some life to this one. The form again that he took the most often, so there's an aspect of it that needs to be lively. In the case of when the party's going to meet him, it will be a little corrupted and messed up. I was very lucky to have this fun idea. And as a tip for anyone who has a large table of players and they're not sure what to throw at them, pick a few different things that you're like, I like this idea, and lump it into one encounter and just make it like for a boss encounter, make it like different forms. That's what I'm doing. And I found that kind of adds to the allure of a battle. It really makes the players have to think on their toes, and it's like, because if you go in and you just have the same idea, the players are just going to feel like it's going to be like oh, I just have to hit this thing until it dies. But if the form changes and the tactics need to change, it keeps them more intrigued with what's going on. So, just a thought. You obviously don't have to listen to me. thing is, I just needed to make sure that I worked on him because I have not had a lot of time to do so because I've had other things that I'm doing, i.e. other parts of him that I've been painting. So I just want to make sure that he's got, that each part of him is getting the love that it deserves. And again, the benefit of this is I'm not being too careful right now because I don't need to be. When I get closer in on the detail, that's when I'm going to have to really dive in on making sure that certain parts don't get color on them and things like that. But at this part where there's mostly, mostly mid-tone, this is when you get to have fun. And just kind of get in and paint. And it took me a long time to realize that. There was a long time where I was just like, no, I need to paint everything hyper detailed if I want to keep details in the long run. And it's like, you don't. Actually, you should focus on getting color on the model first, and then you can start to work on the detail of it, because if you try to be detailed at every point, you're going to burn yourself out pretty quickly. So, doing here is just that color part. I'm really excited when I get to go in the detail on him now, because it's gonna look so good. I'm really excited. This is one of those models that immediately when I saw it, before I even had a plan to do anything with it, I was like, this is just a really cool model. And this is Arson, the Horns of Hell by Witch Song Miniatures, who I love. I think they do really great work. I'll put the link in the description, so if you guys want to look at it, you can. I'm going to start doing that more too, because I realize there's no point in me not doing it. It wasn't out of any like gatekeeping or anything. I just didn't think about it. And these people are also artists, just in a different way. And I think that they should get the recognition that they deserve, because they do extremely beautiful models. I was asking my wife what color these mushrooms on the back should be, and they said that they should be yellow. I'm gonna futz with that a little bit. Start working up the gorgeous. I'm also going to start working up the other mushrooms as well. Those are obviously going to be turkey tails. That's why I was like, I wanted to do it that way. The other option would be to do like, I had a couple ideas for it. One of them was going green, so it looked like it was like this green, like the fluorescent green, so it looked like it was sprouting through like whatever interior core he had, which I kind of liked. But the other idea was just looking at mushrooms that I like and putting that as the color. All right, that's clean. And then, so I think for the shadows of it, we did like algae green, I think is what I went with. I think all the other greens, although ghoul green would be a really good one. I think I'm gonna go ghoul green. Especially if I'm going more like gray. I think this is gonna look pretty cool. So we're gonna go here. So all this is doing is giving us a nice like shadow color. I'm trying not to overbrush too much on it. I want it to catch the recesses, but I don't want it to overdo it. So go back and take some from the previous thing. And then what we're gonna do is go back over this with the same color, but start moving towards that kind of gray-green tone. Not a lot, but just a little bit. There we go. All right, then we're gonna let this dry. Yeah, I think that'll look really, really cool once it's done. All right. Oh, I should get the top of the head too. The reason I chose mahogany for the other tone is because that's the kind of the base of what the tone is. So sorry, that's the base tone I used for the wooden aspects of him. I just thought it'd be best to just use that again. I think I did drab brown for the thing, so I'm gonna start moving up. Again, the name of the game right now is just doing as much as we can. I got other stuff I got to work on today, but I'll do that after stream. I just want to work on him. So yeah, we went drab brown, probably put some like bony material. Jesus, can't think of the word. Like a wash on it or a speed paint. And so now we're going Dusty Skull for our first highlight tone. And this is probably going to be more of our like mid-tone. So again, I'm not really worried about getting too much on there. I want there to still be some of that undertone though. And it'll be on places where the places that are directly out of the sunlight. Or are light, sorry, I should say. There's not going to be much sunlight where he is found. Which I should also probably think about a little bit. as I'm starting to place like tones down and things like that. Digging this jazz, man. For this, we're just going down kind of the top parts of the ribs, because while there is an emanating light from beneath, light moves out in lines. So the tops of the ribs most likely won't be covered in that green, even if it's vibrant. Think about when you look at something that's got a harsh light coming from underneath it. The top is still in some way, shape, or form the same color as it was before. And I want it to be kind of like a dull, bright green, which I know sounds oxymoronic, because it is. But I want it to be a localized green, not too much of a cast light, I guess is the best way I should say it. And I wanted a good point for this because it makes it easier to paint when you have a better point. I'm gonna put a little bit of drab brown on here. Just make a mix. So we're gonna do a bit of the drab brown, a little bit of bone. Gonna get an intermediate tone between the two, and this is what I'm gonna start putting on the antlers. Kind of like ochreish tone. I want to make sure I'm keeping some of that shadow tone in there on the bottom. One, because I think it looks good, but two, because that's how light works. Crazy. Light cast shadows, who would have thought? It is going to darken a bit just because that's how this paint works, but I kind of like that. Plus, in juxtaposition with these kind of purplish magenta blossoms, I think it'll look really cool. An antler is kind of like bone, but it's not exactly. So that's why it's going to have a different color than the bone, and hopefully just a little bit of a different texture. But hopefully it'll look good. Again, not too worried about the details in this specific moment, just kind of worried about getting color where it needs to be and really starting to work on a little more fun parts of the model. Ears. His bone. Real quick.
I'm just gonna have the whole bottom jaw painted bone. Originally I wasn't going to, but I just think that's what it needs. I'm just gonna do drab brown underneath for now. And then those little pieces of flesh will keep. And then once that dries, I'll go back over it.
Somebody help me get over it. Somebody help me, yeah. Somebody help me get over it. Somebody help me, yeah.
I'm adding this color in so it has more of a presence on the model. And I think it'll just look better than the bone, because the bone is kind of sticking out right now. But I think having this kind of gray-green color will help accentuate the green underneath it while also still looking like bone. And add some atmosphere to the model, so that's why I'm going with it. And if I don't like it, I can always go back and change it, but I think I like the way that it looks right now. Let's figure out how to do those mushrooms. I want to start out with a brighter yellow. First, just to see if I like it. Oh, too much. Got red, green, and ochre on there right now. Actually, let's see. No, actually, I think this is what I'm gonna do. I like this color better. I'm just gonna get it all over and then we can figure it out from there, but I think what it does is add another, whoops, add another mention of this color. That's dry, but that's fine. It adds the color to the model again, which will help with cohesion. I kind of like the gray-green color anyway, so goes well with just the whole vibe of the model. Place the reinforce the color. That's what the word I was looking for to do this. Yeah. Probably go back over these with contrast paint later. Although they are going to get kind of covered in the basing, so I guess we'll see. But
Just added some more bone color to the skulls on the base.
Way too much on there, I guess. And then what I'll do is do what I did with the other models things. I'll add, like, I think it was brownish decay to all of these.
Kind of darken them down a bit and bring it back up. Oh.
Goodness gracious. Oh no.
It's getting too wet over here.
These models are dripping. Brownish decay. Oops. So they're all gonna get brownish decay, but then I'm gonna bring them back up. We'll let that dry for a bit. I'm all about to do that. We'll go back to this lovely gentleman. Alright, and then what I need for this is white berry. Not too much. And then sunburst. That's the color that I used. And then I could opt for that would be Ready Terra. So he's got these patches on him that I just was trying to figure out what color to do. I got some creative help from my wife. And I think that they are right pretty much all the time. So we're adding some blanched berry to some of these little effects he's got on him. And then this little interior thing. Originally, I had the idea to do it in like a dead wood kind of thing, but I wanted there to still be some semblance of like flesh because he is not just a plant. So best way to do that is to just add some magenta tones in there. Fleshy bits he's got on the too when we get to it. That's for these. I'm not going to add much more color than that because I think it would detract from the overall piece. And I like how kind of muted those oranges are, because even in certain settings, they're going to be not as crazy. So I think that's going to do that. And then I can start working on... He's getting close to being done. He didn't really have a lot to left anyway. But if I can get one step of him done soon before I leave on my trip, I will be happy. It's bad about knocking things over. Minus the... Since he's getting close to being done, I should probably start working on his base a little bit. Hmm. Most of this is probably going to be covered. It's just the rock that I really need to work on. Doing my best to glaze to make sure that I've just got consistency in the cloak, because I want it to look like one cohesive piece but with some texture to it. And glazes are really good for getting the balance right between some of the shadows and the lights without taking away from too much of either. So that's what I'm going for here. And it's looking pretty good. Like I said, he's kind of almost done. He's just got some small, tiny detail work that needs to get worked on for him. And as soon as that's done, he will be done. Gorgeous. Yeah, he's looking really, really good. Happy that I stuck through with him because he's, again, starting to get on the exact look that I want him to have. I might put him down and just put him a little bit more, see if there's anything else that he needs. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be relatively well done. All right. Oh, about 30 minutes left. Oh yeah. Let's go back to this guy. Since we have the colors that we need out. He's got some fleshy bits on him too. I'll probably add some blood to it, but I like the just desaturated look that we've got going on so far, so see how I feel about it. Get that on there. Going for some semblance of realism, not necessarily the craziest semblance, but there we go. Have a nice little brown texture to it, which is nice. Or color, not texture. What am I talking about? Yeah, he's looking good so far. It's starting to shape up pretty nice. For now, again, I'm just moving up the highlights. This time with the mahogany and green. I just added more gray green to the mix. Darkens it, doesn't it? I'll just do ice yellow for the highlight tone.
Yeah. He's looking pretty good so far. I'm happy with the work that I got done today on him. We still got about 13 minutes left. Oh!
He's looking really good too. Absolution. Darkest green I got. Just brings it back down to the paste. Probably do some stippling on this to make it look like it's got moss on it later on. I was debating whether I wanted to put the absolute green on there or not, but I think I like it. And then we'll go back over these parts with things at a later date. 10 minutes left. What can I do in 10 minutes? I'm getting a little. Oh. Get a little tired. And I still got a bunch of stuff I gotta do, so. I like the cloak. The cloak looks really good. That glazing definitely helped out and made it look really, really nice and smooth. So. Let's get a dry brush. Terrain. Start
working on something. So yeah, I think I'm gonna end it there today. Just because I've got some other stuff that I got to do. But honestly, really good work. Got a lot of stuff done. Happy with it. But yeah, so I really appreciate you guys hanging out and joining. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you so much for watching to the end. It means honestly the world to me. But yeah, I hope you guys have a great rest of your night. I will be back on Thursday. That's the plan. So until then, I hope that you guys enjoy your week, and I will see you all next time. All right, later, guys.